Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to do a little brow tutorial. I'm going to show you how to do 4 different brows using 4 different products, going from a really easy natural looking brow to a more advanced defined brow. The products that I'm going to be using today is the Benefit Gimme Brow Volumizing Fiber Gel, and I've got a variety of shades in the products that I'm using. So this is the lightest. This is number 1, their blonde color. I don't know if it would really be an appropriate blonde for someone who had really fair hair and fair skin. For me, it kind of lightens up my brow, but it keeps it looking really natural. I actually bought it when I had blonde hair, so that's why I bought something that's so light. Now I have almost black hair, and I'm using a darker product daily, although I do still sometimes use that after I've gone in with a different product to fill my brow. I go over it with the gel to hold my brow in place. The next product I'm going to use is the Revolution Makeup London Focus and Fix Eyebrow Shaping Kit. This is in the light medium shade range, so it comes with a light, medium, and dark brow powder, a brow setting wax, and then it comes with a small flat angled brush, and it comes with a very small pair of tweezers, and I did test them out and they're actually a really good pair of tweezers. So this is a great kit if you are traveling, if you want something that's not very fussy, but it's a little bit harder to use with the flat angle brush. You can also get, I'm going to use this later on. I'll use this. This will be the most dramatic look. This is the Anastasia Dipbrow Brow Pomade. I'm using the shade Dark Brown. And I'm going to use it with the Anastasia Beverly Hills Flat Angled Brow Brush with Spoolie end. So this is a dual tipped brush. And this is by far the best flat angled brush that I have found. And it's perfect for doing your brows. So even if you have something like this Revolution brow kit and you like the ease of powder and then setting your brow with wax, you can still pick up a better brush if you want something that's a little bit easier to use rather than using the small brush that comes with the kit. When I use this product today, I will be using the small brush that came with it so that you can see how it works. And the other product that I'm going to use today is the Kiss Professional Top Brow Fine Brow Pencil. This one has an extremely fine pencil end. You can see that. It is a very fine tip, and it also has a spoolie on the other end. The spoolie is great for brushing out your brows, so if you don't have a product that has a dual-ended spoolie tip, then I would recommend either picking up a spoolie brush. You can buy them in stores, or if you're at Sephora and you're sampling some kind of mascara brow product, keep the brush, take it home, wash it. Wash it regularly with the rest of your makeup brushes, but you can keep that spoolie and reuse it to do your brows anytime. All right. Oh, and the top brow product, I bought this one in Brunette, and this is actually what I'm wearing right now, and I think it's a really great shade for me. I personally like my brows to be just a touch lighter than my hair color. I think when I fill them in, they just don't look as heavy on my face. I don't want my brows to look like a big dark line across my forehead. I want them to look somewhat natural, and personally I really like to be able to see some of the individual hairs because I like to be able to see a natural brow even if I've gone for a more exaggerated shape. The first thing you want to do when you go to do your brows is determine where the inside, the arch, and the end should sit. And to determine those positions, you can use a really simple technique. I'm going to take a makeup brush. You can also use a pencil. It should be about pencil width. And the first thing I'm going to do to measure where the inside of my brow should start, I'm going to hold it at the edge of my nose and go straight up my face. And then the tip of the eyebrow should be just inside the pencil. For the arch, I'm going to go from the edge of my nose, the outside of my nose, directly through my iris, up through my pupil, and that's where the highest point of my brow should sit, so I'm almost at a 45-degree angle. And then to determine the outer edge of my eyebrow, I'm going to go from the edge of my nose to the outer corner of my eye and right out to the edge of the brow, and that's where the brow should finish. You can use that really simple technique, repeat on the other side, and if you want, you can use either a fine brow pencil if that's what you're using to do your brow, or you can use something like this NYX Wonder Pencil, which is a really light pink, and then you can just put a small mark where each of those things should finish. For the arch, you'd put it just above, and then at the end, you'd put it just at the outside, and same with the inside edge. All right. First product that I'm going to be using is the Benefit Gimme Brow Gel. Again, this is shade number 1, which is the lightest shade from Benefit. I'm going to start by applying that upward, starting at the inside edge of the brow. And I'm working the brow straight up toward the top of my hairline. As I move out toward the arch, I'm going to be moving a little bit more horizontally. And then as I approach the outer tip of my eyebrow, I'm going to start to groom those hairs downward so that I don't have my brows sticking up or looking unruly. And you can see the brow getting a little bit thicker. I'm going to reapply some product to the brush and take that to the outer edge, again grooming straight outward and then moving down toward the outer edge of the eye. And then I'm going to go in and clean up any pigment that's left outside of my brow with concealer and a flat brush. And that's the finished brow. Next, I'm going to be using the Makeup Revolution powder, and I'm going to start by mixing the medium and dark shade. I'm going to take that on the flat angle brush that comes with the product. First, I'm going to groom my brow with the Spoolie that I keep in my brush set. I'm going to groom the brow upwards, outwards at the arch, and then downward at the end of the eyebrow. And then I'm going to start on the underside of my arch and move out towards the edge of my eyebrow, creating small hair-like motions and giving a little bit of an outline to my brow so that I can fill inside of that line. And again, I'm using 2 powders mixed. I'm using the medium and the darkest shade from this kit. I'm going to continue to fill in the inside of the outline that I've created at the end of my brow, and I'm going to make small motions with the brush in the direction that I want the brow to sit when I'm finished. That way it'll create the most hair-like natural lines. I'm going to take that brush and do the underside of my brow into the inner corner. And here I'm just filling the outer edge where I'm noticing any patchy spots. So using the darkest shade in the palette, I'm going to fill in any spots at the end where I think I just don't have enough pigment or it doesn't blend well with my natural brow, which is a little bit darker than this powder. At the inner corner, I'm using the flat edge of the brush to create hair-like lines so that it blends really naturally because my brow is a little bit sparse at the inner corner. And then I'm going to outline the top of the brow and fill in any spots where I need a little bit more coverage. And I'll just repeat any steps until I get exactly the look that I want. So whatever area I'm applying the product in, I like to hold the brush in the position that I would want the hair to be growing if it were hairs rather than drawn on lines. Now I'm going to take the wax and I'm going to rub the flat side of the brush rather than using the tip. I'm going to use the side of the brush. I'm just going to dip it in some of the wax, get the brush coated, and then I'm going to use the brush to apply that right over top. And having a little bit of that product left on the brush isn't necessarily a bad thing the next time you go to use this product, because it means you'll pick up the powder a little bit more easily, and it'll also help the brush to hold its really flat, fine, stiff shape to create really natural lines. And again, I'm applying this wax in exactly the direction that I want the brow to sit when I'm finished. So outward at the outer corner, up at a bit of an angle, I would say almost a 45 at my arch, and directly up 90 degrees at my inner corner. Now I'm using the Kiss Professional Top Brow Pencil. So I'm going to use the spoolie that came on the brush, and this is the very fine pencil tip. I'm going to start underneath the brow, right in the arch, moving toward the inner corner. I tend to vary the pattern that I apply the product depending on what type of product that I'm using. I'm going to define the outline that I want at the bottom of the outer corner of my brow. And I like to go over it with the spoolie every now and then as I'm drawing these lines so that they look soft instead of looking too harsh. Now I'm outlining above the arch, creating exactly the shape that I want, and then softening that line. When I fill my brow, I'm usually a bit more particular at the inner corner about creating fine lines, and at the outer corner, I mostly just want the coverage. I don't mind a lighter look at the inner edge of my brow, but I prefer my brow to be a little bit heavier toward the outer corner and lighter toward the inner corner. Again, it just helps to keep it looking natural and helps see a little bit of the definition of the natural hair. I wish my brows were a little bit fuller and thicker. I did try to grow them out, and it helped at the inner corner, but I found that at the outer edge there really wasn't much that I could do to get a thicker brow. The hair just didn't grow in a pattern that really looked good on my face, so I ended up just growing them out at the inner corner and leaving the outer corner. So there you can see the really natural little hair-like lines that I created at the inner corner. And then I'm taking that line at the top in to meet those natural hairs that I've drawn on, but I'm softening it a lot more at the inner corner. I almost like an ombre or a gradient look in my brow, going from lighter at the inner corner to darker at the outer edge. We're almost there on this brow. I'm just going to go back and fill in any spots that don't have enough coverage. And again, the way that I cleaned up the brow with the Benefit Gimme Brow Gel, you can do the same thing with any of these products, just going over with a flat angle brush or a flat paddle with a bit of concealer around the edges to clean it up. Just make sure you're using a really fine, stiff brush so that it doesn't mess up the product or brush through your brows. There we go. Finally, I'll just groom the hairs on my brow. Now I'm going to use the Anastasia Beverly Hills Dipbrow Pomade in dark brown. There it is. Okay, and I'm going to use the Anastasia dual tip brush. I think this might be the number 12, but I'll have to check on that, and I'll post it in the description down below. So I've had this product for a little while. I do find that the Anastasia Dipbrow tends to dry out a little bit. So what I like to do is add a little bit of any kind of skincare oil. So I use 100% argan oil in mine, and I put a very, very small drop, and then I mix it around just a little bit, and it keeps the product fresh so that when I apply it to the brow, it applies precisely. Although it does mean that the product won't stay in place immediately when you put it on. You have to wait for it to set a little bit more if you're going to be rehydrating it with oils. Alright, so I'm lining at the bottom side of the brow, and I always find that I have to angle my mirror downward and be looking down so that I can really see the underside of my brow to create the perfect line with this product. The brush makes a huge difference with application because this is such a stiff, fine, flat angle brush. I'm creating those small hair-like lines the same way that I have with the other products that I've used. And I always like to groom the brow down so that I can lay out the arch exactly where I want it, and I prefer to go almost inside of the hairs where those follicles start on the top of my brow rather than going too far above them. I don't want to have a naturally thick brow. I've got a pretty good shape for my face. I just want to accentuate the positives. Alright, so I'm kind of using the brush just to smooth out the hard lines from applying the product. And I'm using the spoolie the same way that I did with the brow pencil, just to soften the lines as I apply product. You can see I'm applying in the same pattern that I have in the previous methods. And I'm just looking at the brow and seeing where I want it darker, where I want it lighter, where I want small hair-like strokes, or where I want a little bit more full coverage. I think it's really important to try a few different shades and see what you like in terms of shading in the brow, because some people I've seen do a really heavy brow with, even if they've got, you know, almost black hair, to use a product that is sitting more so on the skin than on the hair of the brow. It can really create a very solid look to your brow, and so I think you have to play around a little bit with shades and see what works best for you. Alright, I do find you have to pick up more product often with the Anastasia Dipbrow, and when I apply in these small hair-like strokes, I just like to hold the flat edge of the brush and just clean any excess off on the back of my hand, just so that I have a very fine flat angle at the front edge of the brush. Then I'm going to go through and shape the brow just by brushing it. I like to do this periodically to make sure that any lines that I'm creating fit seamlessly with my natural brow hairs. Okay, so I've done my brows 4 different ways. I've got pencil on this eye right now, and I've got the Anastasia Beverly Hills Dipbrow on this side. The pencil is from Kiss Professional Makeup, and it is the Top Brow Pencil, Fine Precision Brow Pencil. I think this is a great choice for a beginner. There are also some triangular angled brow pencils, such as this one, the Brow Definer from Anastasia Beverly Hills. There's also a great one from Benefit, and they have a tip that is V-shaped. I hope the camera will focus. V-shaped. So that one is just a little bit more of a tricky pencil to get used to, whereas the really fine tip pencils are really easy to create really fine hair-like strokes. The other thing I wanted to show you is when you are doing your brows, and this doesn't matter what type of product you're using, whether you're using a powder, a pencil, a gel, or just defining any kind of fiber gel or brush-on product, what you can do is actually use a foundation or a concealer just to clean up the shape of the brow. So if you have any, let's say you take your arch too high or you fill too low underneath your arch, you can go in with the foundation or the concealer and just take a really fine flat brush. This is a concealer brush, a flat concealer, and I'm just going to pull that along the line that I want to define. And I'm using the Tarte Shape Tape foundation in light sand, I believe. And I'm using that just to clean up underneath the brow. It also really makes the brow pop, so if you're going for a more made up, polished look, it's a step that you might want to try. And you can do the same, I'm just going to use the excess on the brush, you can do the same below and above the brow, just taking that flat brush. You can also use a totally flat tipped brush. That will work really well, but I like this flat concealer. And there we go. So you can do that no matter what product you're using, just to clean up the brow. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that you found it helpful and that you can find a product that works for your brows in a color that gives you the look that you want, with a technique that gives you exactly what you like, whether it's a really fine brow, something that looks really natural, fluffy, full, or something that's more dramatic and defined. I hope that some of these products will be helpful to you. I'll list all of them down below in the little description box. If you've enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you want to see more. And also feel free to leave a comment if there's any more information that you want about product, technique, or absolutely anything else to do with hair, skin, nails, beauty. Feel free to ask. Thanks for watching.